This video on notes, lines, spaces, and clefs has a great deal of information in it. Be sure to pause and study graphics or re-watch several times until the ideas in this lesson make sense. To understand how to read music notes, we're going to start with the piano on the left side, and that's because it's fairly easy to illustrate how to read notes using notes on the piano. White keys on the piano can be identified with just a note letter. The green arrow here points to a note called C. All of the keys are in alphabetical order. If you go up one key, then you go forward one letter in the alphabet. If you go down one key, then you go backwards in the alphabet one letter. Notice that G and A are always right next to each other. This is because G is the end of the music alphabet, and after G we come full circle and start again with A. Every eighth white key repeats the same letter, and just like other things that are named for the number 8, like 8 tentacles is an octopus, or something that has 8 sides is an octagon, well, we call the notes with the same letter octaves. Here's what it sounds like if you play octaves, one right after the other. And here's what it sounds like if you play 4 octaves together at the same time. All music notes are written on lines or spaces, and notice how every white key on the piano lines up with either a line or space. We represent each note with a bubble, called a note head, on each line or space. So with all of these lines and spaces, how can we tell which note we're looking at? First, we need a clef sign, like this treble clef sign. Treble clef is also known as G clef because its bottom spiral creates a target on the note letter G. Also, we only use 5 lines at a time to make a 5-line music staff. To remember the names of the treble clef notes, you might notice that the notes in the spaces spell F-A-C-E, face. For the lines, try remembering every good boy deserves fudge. If we want lower notes, then we could use a bass clef symbol. Bass clef is also known as the F clef because its 2 dots surround the F line, and the dot that starts the whole clef is on F. To remember the names of the bass clef notes, you might notice that the notes in the spaces spell A-C-E-G, or ace-g. You can still spell face with the notes if you start with the note space that's below the bottom line. For the lines, try remembering good boys deserve fudge always. Piano players often use the treble and bass clef at the same time, like it is here, and when they are together, it's called the grand staff. Some instruments use an in-between clef, and for viola this is called alto clef. Alto is called a C clef because the pointer in the middle of it points to the middle C between treble and bass clef. Notice that alto clef borrows 2 lines from both of those clefs. Then we need to bring back that middle line again and get rid of the other treble and bass clef lines. And that gives us our 5-line alto clef. This time the spaces are good boys deserve fudge, and the lines spell out F-A-C-E-G, face-g. The C clef is also used by advanced cello and bass players for their higher notes. All we have to do is steal the top line from alto clef and put it at the bottom, and it becomes tenor clef. Notice that the middle arrow is still pointing at middle C. And what about notes that go above or below the staff? Well, we represent those notes by adding small lines and spaces using what are called ledger lines. Treat these short lines just like we are unerasing a few of the lines outside of your clef that we need to use. That's all for this lesson. Be sure to review this material until it all makes sense. And be sure to ask me if you have any questions. At the end of the video, we'll have each clef by itself for a few seconds, so feel free to stop and study your clef.